We're back.
Yes, we are.
Back home again in Indiana.
Oh, it's always good to be back home.
Always good to be back home again in Indiana.
Yes.
If I don't make it as a writer, maybe I've got a career as a singer.
You might.
Or-
and I could be a partner in the...
We'll start our own show.
No.
We could get Jim Neighbors beamed in.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are back, but somebody
is missing from my lap. And it's Toto.
It's our little guy.
And he is at the groomer.
Yes.
He needs a little nip and tuck in his hair. So
I could use a little nip and tuck. He needs a little trimming.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead today without him with some positivity from the porch. So we are continuing our theme on freedom. We're just going to take it right into August because we've had some really great responses.
We have. So
and last week, or last session, it was actually, last week, we were in California.
I know.
And here we are back, and we talked about finding freedom from ourselves.
Yes.
Because sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
Oh, going back to the past with my problem.
Yeah.
And it pulled me down. But I have joy. I found God at my side. And he won't let me go back to the past.
Right.
Because we talk about something else.
Right. We're moving forward. We left our past a couple weeks ago. We left the past on the porch.
Oh, we did.
And we left ourselves and all of our disappointments and unmet dreams.
Yes.
We left those in California. We threw them right off that cliff.
Into the ocean.
So, Mama, what are we leaving today? What are we freeing ourselves from today?
We are freeing ourselves from certain people. I'm not going to be negative. We're never negative.
We're not negative, but no, we're having
certain people that may not have our best interests at heart. We are living to have others who want their best interests at heart.
Yes.
And we love giving it to them. But there's always a few that, for some reason or other, they're probably very unhappy. And I'm sorry to say that.
Yes.
Because if they just make one move, I'll be there.
Right.
But these people like to be negative and like to say negative things that have been in the back of my mind, especially if I happen to see one or hear about somebody. And right away, I'm thinking, I just can't deal with this person. She hurt me too much. And so what do?
It's a trigger.
Yeah.
So we all have had people who have hurt us, and hurt people hurt people.
Yes, that's right.
So we have to remember that. So everyone has a story, but we need to have, and I brought my favorite book, Boundaries.
Yeah.
And also we have to free ourselves through forgiveness. So forgiveness and boundaries, I think, come hand in hand, because just because we forgive somebody does not necessarily mean the relationship will be restored. And so today we want to talk specifically about people who have hurt us, maybe people who are just drag us down.
Yeah.
It's just a one way. We give. They take from us.
Yeah.
You know, people who have betrayed us, just people, you know, we need to release that don't have our best interests. We all have people in our lives, I'm losing my crown here, who you know, are in our lives, but they don't have our best interests for whatever reason. They're hurt or they're jealous. Yeah. And we need to set some boundaries, you know, and sometimes they're the people who are closest to us.
That's right.
And that's really, really hard. So we're going to start with some stories and some ways that we've kind of released some of people from our lives.
Yes.
And how we've done it. So do you want to start, Mama?
Well, there was a time when I had to associate with some individuals that dragged me down, and I overlooked it. I was too caught up in what I was doing, actually. But then when we parted and we didn't have the same activity anymore, I just let it go. I thought about it once in a while, but I never wanted to make contact. I just stayed away, got it out of my life. But every once in a while, for some reason or other, you know, a person will pop back up. And I've wanted to reach out just as a Christian wants to reach out to help. I wanted to reach out and see if I could restore maybe our relationship a bit, and I'm hesitant about doing that.
Well, here's a question. Do you want to restore the relationship?
No.
Is it a good relationship?
No.
Then why do you want to restore it?
Because I've been asked to.
Okay. So the other person wants to restore the relationship.
Yes.
Well, that's a really hard one because, you know, and
or
sometimes,
at least say hello.
Right.
At least say
and
hello.
I think that's where boundaries come in. So you could restore the relationship, just not spend a lot of time or energy on it.
I could say hi.
Right.
And how are you doing?
Yeah, I can't imagine you not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just who you are.
Especially if someone specifically asks me.
Right.
Someone I admire, someone that I want a relationship with. And I intend to do that. And I just wanted to really pass it by you, Julie, and our audience too. So
for feedback, I'm not a counselor.
No, I know.
But what I would say based on my own interactions, because we're people.
Yeah.
Okay, we're both people. We have a lot of people in our lives.
Yeah.
People come to us a lot, and so it's hard because it can be draining.
Yeah.
And so I think you're talking about a relationship that was draining.
It was.
And so you just need to set some boundaries. You
and
don't
it
have
hurt
to
me at a time when I didn't have God at my side to help me get over it.
So you're stronger now.
I'm stronger now.
And I think that's really key is we sometimes allow people inadvertently to beat us up.
Yes.
Because we don't have that strength. And when we have a closer relationship with the Lord, those things don't bother us as much.
No.
Because God frees them. We don't even have to free ourselves. We need to lean on the Lord and He will take care of it.
I just pass it on to Him.
Yeah, turn it over to the Lord. So I think if you have boundaries, Mom, it's not in your nature to block people out. I think you'd have a really hard time. God has given you a very kind and tender heart. You're pixie dust.
Thank you.
And so, and you brighten so many lives. And the thing is, the people who are doing these things are hurt. So they actually need us.
They need us.
And so it's a real hard balance because there are some people who will just suck the life out of you. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, God has sent me to help them.
Yes.
But then we can't help everyone. We're not fixers.
No.
Only the Lord can truly restore. What we can do is point people to the Lord. And so what you can do in this new kind of renewal of a friendship is share how God is working in your life and encourage them to do the same.
The miracle He performed with my accident.
Right.
Miracles every day.
Right.
One last night I won't talk about.
Right.
But He's there for me. And I want him to be there for everybody else.
Right.
I have a responsibility in a way.
And I think, in some instances, no contact is really the best option. When somebody is attacking you or very toxic and clearly is going after you, I think that's a no contact situation.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think it's somebody who just hurt you.
Yeah.
And probably didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And is one of those friends who was just kind of sucking you dry with negativity.
And what about giving people a second chance?
Yes.
What about my second chance?
Right. Well, that's grace. That's God giving us grace, and we need to pass that along. So I think your relationship will be different, and I'm going to pray about it. And we just need to keep praying every day, too, because the Lord will lead us. Don't bring it to the porch and ask me. Talk to the Lord.
Okay.
All we can do, Mom and I, is share our stories and experiences because we've been here a while. Mom's been here a little bit longer.
A little bit
longer. So she's lived a little more and learned a little more.
Yes, I hope.
So, yes. And Mom, I'm just worried about the technical difficulty with the sound there.
Well, I have to have my jewelry.
This is where we make adjustments. I'm going to move the mic down because at one point we had it clinking. Okay, there we go.
I have to look good, even for a shot yesterday.
She has to look good. I
had to dress up.
I wanted to make sure you sounded good, too.
Okay.
Because the jewelry sometimes gets in the way.
Yeah.
So I think that is a good plan moving forward, Mom. And why are you waving? I haven't even shared my story yet.
Oh, then share your story.
You were having boundaries. You were living the boundaries right here on the porch with me, but don't be cutting me off, Mama. I got some things to say.
Sorry.
I've had some issues that I need to resolve and share on this porch.
You better listen.
So, I've had a lot of, not a lot, I've had my share of relationships that have been draining.
Yes.
That have been one-sided, that have also been very hurtful.
Yes.
One, and I lead a singles group, so I'm in front of people constantly who have been hurt.
Yes.
Divorce, betrayal. I have so many women in our group. We had a girls' night a couple months ago, and we went around. It got really deep. This was like our first meeting, single sisters. There were like 30 people here.
But it was good.
It was so good, and it was so needed, and it really spoke to me and said, this is needed. We need a safe place to share our hurts.
Yes.
We went around the room and shared our story. More than half of the women in my living room had been betrayed by a husband who had had an affair. More than half.
Oh.
Right in my living room. And so the hurt is so real and so strong. And when you have a bond that is supposed to be a lifetime, and you have been betrayed like that, it's so horrible. And even if there isn't a betrayal, a divorce and an end of a marriage is a brokenness that is really hard to work through. And when there's kids, unfortunately, you have to keep dealing with that person.
That's right.
And so my story is with my former husband, and I did not have the betrayal situation at all. It wasn't like that. So every situation's unique, but it still was a very difficult situation. And so then we've got these kids. And so for 18 years, we've had to deal with each other.
Yes.
And, part of the reason our marriage didn't work is we weren't on the same page. We were never a united front.
No.
So if you're not a united front in your marriage,
and
you're not going to be in your divorce. Let's face it, especially
No.
when there's a remarriage. So, and that's a common situation then when the ex or former spouse gets remarried. Their focus is on that person, right?
Yes.
Or that new relationship. And so you're toast. Like you're nothing to them now.
Yeah.
So, but you've got these children. And so, we were not a united front in our marriage. We certainly were not a united front as the years went on with kids, because he had a new focus with this new wife, and she's telling him different advice, right? So you got a lot of people in this pot of advice, and what do we do for this situation? So I spent many years blaming him for issues with the kids that would come up. And I just thought, he's the one. And so it was a couple years ago that I wrote him an email, and I just said I forgave him.
Yeah.
And, I don't know that we'll ever be friends. I mean, he's remarried. We get along when we have to talk. And
he's not a Christian.
Well, and he's not a Christian, so he's not going to see things the same way through that same lens. But I will tell you, there was such freedom.
Yes.
And, he never responded, and that's okay. I really didn't expect it. But I just dumped it out, and I just said, you know what? I forgive you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you anymore. I'm not, our kids are adults. They make their own decisions.
Yes.
I think we both did things that enabled things that were not good,
You admitted your part.
Right. And so I love my children, and there's a point where love can become enabling.
Yes.
So I needed better boundaries. There is a section, I looked at this today, on boundaries with your children.
Yes.
I don't think it's a coincidence that I got a lot of highlights in that section. I'm going to reread it. So this boundaries book I keep referring to is by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. I highly recommend it. There's a whole series. And so it's really hard, in friendships. I'm a fixer.
Yes,
we want to fix it, right? And I remember even
right now
with friends, sometimes when you try to, quote, help people, and I've done it with my children, I've done it with friends, I've done it with you.
Yes.
It enables a situation that prevents them sometimes, I think, from getting the real help they need. And I'll never forget, I had a Bible study. I do a lot of Bible studies at my house. And this is several years ago, being around my kitchen table. And one of the women in particular had a very serious situation. And she was thinking of adopting her daughter's child. And this was a huge life change.
Oh, yes.
A grandchild.
Yes.
Because her child who was adopted was not able to care for the child and was being abusive and crazy and all kinds of things. Well, and so my dear friend was going to adopt this grandchild. She was going around asking us.
Yes, I remember.
Well, what do you think?
That.
What do you think? And I remember shutting my door that night and going, that's it. I'm ending this Bible study. We were at the very end anyway, but it became a counseling session.
Yes.
And that's the problem sometimes, because we're not professionals. Like when you ask me what I would do, I'm like, I don't know, ask Dr. Pat.
Yeah.
She's a professional.
Yeah.
Our counselor, Dr. Pat. But it prevents sometimes when we love people and want to help them, we're enabling a situation.
Oh, I do that.
And that's where boundaries come in, and it actually prevents them from getting the true help that they need through a professional, because you're giving them just enough.
Yes.
Just enough help.
Just a little
just
common
enough
sense.
encouragement. So maybe, you're putting a Band-Aid on when they really need the surgery.
Yes.
And they really need some serious help. So it's a hard balance, but and that's where we need boundaries. So even people who we love, we need to be free from sometimes and set some boundaries, because in trying to, quote, help them, it can overtake our lives. I mean, that definitely happened with my kids.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to help them through various things through the years, mostly as adults,
and there
young
was
adults.
a time when you reached out for these people that they came to you, Julie.
Oh, yeah,
and,
all the time.
It was going to present a new type of life for you.
Right. And it's just draining sometimes. And it's not, and I think it's draining because it's not what God wants us to do, right? I mean, we're to love people, love God and love each other. And so, but we need to do it with boundaries, because there are examples in the Bible where it says, shake the dust off your feet and move on. And I've had to do that with some very good friends. You surrender them to God, and the forgiveness piece is the piece, though, that is key. That by forgiving someone like I did my former husband, it released that hold. So I'm not bothered by situations that much. I released it. I said, okay, Lord, I told him, I forgive you. I talked about it with the Lord, and I was able to release that hold, because that's what happens when someone hurts you. They have a hold on you until you can forgive them and release that. And that takes a long time, depending on what the hurt is. But once you do, you can free yourself. But just because you forgive someone doesn't necessarily mean the relationship will be restored. Sometimes a relationship is just not possible. Or it's not healthy for you.
But you tried.
You tried, and you gave them a chance.
And you gave it to God.
You gave it, you talked to them about it. You clearly stated, this is what I need. Because that's the thing. When we're givers and we're doers and we're fixers, we're always trying to make them feel better. But we have needs. We all have needs in relationships. And we need to be in healthy relationships that are two ways. That are healthy, where we're with people who have our best interests at heart. And I am so blessed, and I know you are too, because God keeps sending these incredible new people who have become such dear, dear friends. Gigi,
the girl on Sunday night. Oh, I just went away so full of joy. And I wanted to keep looking at the picture, and they went off.
Right. So our mom is talking about my live Sunday night Bible studies, and we talked about forgiveness.
Oh, I know.
And the story of Stephen in Acts chapter 7, being stoned, and as he is dying, he is saying, Lord, please forgive them. Have mercy on these people who are murdering me.
Who could ever do that?
I have the chills right now. I mean, he's literally forgiving them and asking for mercy on people who are killing him.
That is
what an example.
That is the highest thing you could ever do.
Right. That's the ultimate. And I think the ultimate example is Jesus on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And I can't tell you how many times, again, back to my former husband, when there were struggles, I would repeat that, Lord, forgive him. He knows not what he's doing. Like literally, and I think that really helped me to realize that Jesus, as he was dying, was asking for forgiveness
Julie,
of the people.
I can't imagine that scene in my morning devotions, because it makes me so sad with Jesus on the cross. And I know that's not right, but I'll go right over it,
And I think we're supposed to sit in that sometimes and feel that pain, because that's what makes us a compassionate person. And actually, Gigi talked about that Sunday night. She said, which just like made me cry. She was crying through some of it. She said that the death of her husband, so my dear friend Gigi in Florida, the death of her husband she said she cries about him every day because she
Yeah.
misses him, but she
Yeah.
feels like it's made her so much more compassionate
Yes.
to the suffering and hurt of others because
Yes.
she can feel the pain now.
Yes, she can.
And she
She's a
started
different
crying.
person, Julie.
Yeah, and she said
Yeah.
that, and I think she's amazing. And
Oh,
when I, I've shared struggles with her, I mean, she cries like it's her own struggle.
yes, it is.
And that's compassion. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes this hurt
Yeah.
that we're going through, that other people, we're having with other people, that is helping us to grow. Even though it's
Yes.
hard, those are moments and opportunities for growth.
That's true.
Because
Yeah.
it's helping us to learn how to be more compassionate, loving people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that story is beautiful, Julie, and we all need to hear it.
Yeah.
I do especially, and because I get in my own little world.
Right.
But just coming to you on Tuesdays and sharing some pretty deep thoughts,
Yeah.
Helps. It gets it out.
Yes.
We know that you're listening, and God is moving us as we tell our story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely. And we're just back. We're here on the porch. Now, last time we had the cleaning people
Yes,
coming
in
by.
California.
Now we got some power washers.
Yes.
So this is what happens every time. And I think, and the hands going up. So I think this is it.
We have some things to do
We
today,
got things
too.
to do. So we hope that there's
You know.
something in our message today that helps you free yourself with God's help. You really can't free yourself.
No,
you need to lean into the Lord, but
Yeah.
and think of maybe one person this week that has hurt you, that has brought you down, that's a negative force, I think is the best way, or doesn't have your best interest at heart. And pray about forgiving that person and releasing. And then go get this book.
Yeah.
Boundaries. If you don't have it, you need it. We all need boundaries. So there we go. We'll see you next week.
We will.
Back
Have
on the
a
porch.
Beautiful, joyous week.
Yes. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.